Hello, my name is Carlos. Welcome back to Carlos Maker Company. We are now going to overview the masking tapes and other tools that you use for your 3D printing and how you use those tools for your 3D printing to actually stay in the build plate, how to insulate it, and also how you actually take off the print off of the build plate itself. So right now we have some of these items, which is the household items, easy to use. I know that some of the companies online they do sell their products, which is the non or actually the sticky spray that you spray adhesive onto the build plate, so that way it'll keep your print stay on there, and it'll just stay stick onto it for a short while. Until then, once it's done, you can just remove it and go from there. There's other attachments too as well, which is the like for example the Makerbots. They do have some removable build plate, which is really flexible. It's a TPU material. So for example, an example of a TPU would be this material too as well. This is a little bit an example of a flexible material. It'll be flexible and just easily remove off the build plate. Or another one too as well, which I do have is right here on my side on the monitor price. I do bought a one that's called the Build Tack. Build Tack actually does the same thing too as well, which is the they do the same concept, which is the removable adhesive build plate. All you do is just remove it, and it'll be much more flexible. And also, too, they can actually use this for a adhesive. You can just paste onto the onto your printer build plate, and that will be used for removable and also keep your build plate clean as access. Okay. And then another thing too as well, they do have is the ink cases too as well. Some they can actually give you some clear plastic, which is a hard material for a installation, but then it's gonna be a lot more costly. But however, you can do one at home, which is household items, which is basically the same concept, but a little more cheaper if you want to save some in your wallet and keep your financial budget. So the first one on your build plate, which is the 3D printing on the build plate, will be masking tape. Now, from the other video, I forgot to remind about that one to actually overview the masking tape. So right now, this is a good opportunity. So masking tape can be anything else. It's just a masking tape. This is used for like paints, for construction workers, and this is the same thing too as well. There's different type of variety of masking tapes out there, sizes, thickness, and also too as well different brands too as well. Some this will be the khaki color. Other one can be the blue one too as well, which is like a good adhesive too as well. So the masking tape is just basically a removable adhesive tape that can be used on the build plate, and it does have a good texture on the surface. Most of these ones, the one I have right now, it doesn't. It slightly does have a texture on the surface. I'm going to go a little bit closer. As you can see, a little bit closer onto that one, there is a fraction of a adhesive on top, so it'll be like a lot of abrasions. So it'll have a little bit more holes on top of it, and that way the bill once you print on the top of the surface, it will adhere onto that one, and it'll hold on to that one. Another example for this right here, this material, I'm looking for one that's a clear spot. There we go. On the build tack, I'm gonna get to focus right now. On the tack, on the surface, you can actually see is like a little bit microns of the adhesive on top. So there's like little tiny bumps, so that way it'll have the ability to actually grip, have the 3D printing melting filament adhere on top of the surface, and it'll stay on there for a long time, depending on your size of the printer. So it varies differently on that one. So that's another thing. Then another thing, if it doesn't work out, or another one that can be both ways, is the glue sticks. Elmer glue sticks, any type of glue sticks too as well. It can be used differently. You can get some that are a little bit smaller. You can get ones a little more bigger bulk size to a little more get more surface adhesive, but you don't have to cover the entire surface. Like for example, my Flex Flex build tack. As you can see, this was built up with the entire glue sticks onto it, so you have to keep it clean every now and then. Looked like they had to remove it off of the printer. Not to that, but yeah, keep it clean, keep it surface as much as you can. Make sure you maintain it every now and then, because most of the time the glue sticks, it does work fantastic, that's great, but you have to clean it often every now and then, because that way it'll keep your surface flat, because you don't want no bumps, any type of a obscure surface onto the area, because you'll have some prints that will print uneven. Some areas will print flat, some areas will have bumps that has the previous glue before that. So how you clean the surface off the build plate, either you can use soap and water, make sure you remove the build plate. Otherwise, make sure it's kind of damp, not soaking wet, so that way you can actually wipe off of the build plate that has no removable build plate right now. So this is, for example, mine Flex Seal. That one's easy to remove. Right now, that one is not on there. I had to like be careful with it, trying to use another adhesive or trying to like dampen the cloth with the soap and water, clean it carefully, and dry up quickly. Another one is an alcoholic base, which is you can use alcohol to actually wipe it down. So another example will be, there we go, will be this right here, the Conserve alcohol. You can just use this one to actually clean off any rough stains that can be used. So you can actually use a white cloth and a alcohol, just a little bit, just rub it onto there. That way it'll get rid of the stubborn or older adhesive. Another one, which is a good one, is the Clorox disinfectant wipes. So you can actually use Clorox wipes or any type of disinfecting wipes. These ones can be useful too as well. That's great. You can actually use it to actually wipe off the material off of it with less stamping wetness onto it. So it won't actually spread your water around or any liquid off of the build plate, and it's gonna ruin your electronics. This one's a moistened cloth, that way it'll just still absorb it, but you can actually still clean your surface on top of it. Another one too, another good trick and tips is that if you have an Elmer's glue and the build plate, you can use the Clorox wipe, just lightly damp it on top of it. You can still save it, put it back in the Clorox container, and at on the top of that surface of build plate, if you use it once, you can actually use it okay. Just wipe it off, it'll regain its surface stickiness back to normal. But you can use it only about twice every now and then, because that way, off of the Elmer's glue, you have to use it twice every now and then because it will build up every once in a while. But from the Clorox, you can actually still use it probably about 4 to 5 times. So that way, if it gets a little bit dirtier, throw it away. That way you get a fresh one. You can still save up from there, because again, the Clorox has a container that is sealable. So that way it'll maintain the Clorox liquid mixture inside of it. Okay. Another one is the environment. Now then, what I'm saying about the environment is that most printers, they do have containers. Other printers will not have containers or insulation, because once the environment will affect it, you'll have drafts, you'll have moisture, dust, and then also too, some might be animals too as well. I had that issues with one of my cats trying to go on this Makerbot mini printer. That's one of the things you have to be careful about the environment, actually figure out how to actually maintain it. So another thing you got to do with is like different type of enclosure, which I'll show you right now. But what to use for your printers too as well. I noticed that they do use a tight fit for your printers, but they do cost a lot because of the large and also the how big it is. But again, that is a good, very useful material if you want to go for that direction to make your printer look nice and neat. But if you want to go for like a low budget one, that's one thing you can use is these two right here, these ones right here. So you have one that's a regular tape. That's it. You got to tape your either the plastic, that's a good one, paper, and I believe no, I think that's it. Plastic or paper, depending on what you want to use on your environment to actually enclose it. Another one is a double-sided tape too as well. The double-sided tape is basically a two-sided one. So I'm gonna get a little bit closer. The double-sided is basically a two-sided tape that has two stickiness on the surface. So right now I use it right now to actually demonstrate it. So this is what it looks like from the sticky. So you have one side sticky on the other side, and the other side the same thing. So this is a good one to actually use for lighter materials, which is still be the same as plastic, papers, and also cardboards too as well, depending on what's the size you have to use. Okay, another one is the Velcro adhesive. So you have these ones. You got to use these Velcros, which is the fur and the plastic hooks onto it. It'll be easier to use onto it, stick onto it, remove it. That's it. But these are kind of a little bit more stubborn. Nowadays in your stores, if you do want to try that one, this will be the brand called Command brand. This is a damage-free hanging. This one is a two-sided Velcros, but they're both plastic, and these are easier to actually clip on and clip off. So it'll click right away. So this is a good one too as well. I use it right now for my camera, and also I'm using it for my printers too as well, which is amazingly well product. So all you have to do is remove it and stick onto it right now. Okay, now the next one is the environment, which I'll show you right now. I'm gonna move these guys outside here. Okay, right down with these two. Okay, onto the printer. Now the printer, the way it looks like, almost dropped that one. this is what it looks like right here. So I'm gonna go move outward a little more. Oops. There we go. Bring it a little more. There we go. Okay, so this is what it looks like right here on the printer. This will actually adheres onto the basically the installation right here. You have the open space right here. That's already you know about that one. But you can actually, like I said, you can use anything else like recycled plastic. I use the spools plastic containers to actually use this on the sides. Use a double-sided tape too as well, which is easier to use. That way you can actually maintain it. If you want your the base area to be very enclosed, that's your choice too as well, depending how strong your draft is going through. So if it's a near an air conditioner, if it's on high, it will blow up like this, and that's not good because it'll bring in cold air or any air or any fan breeze go inside of these gaps. It will affect your printer too as well. Also too, if you're doing it on this side too as well, on your Makerbot mini printer or any Makerbot's replicators, I rather strongly be advised watch out for any air vents right here. So this has an air vent, so that way it'll keep the air, or it'll bring the air to cool down the main board inside it. So kind of like have a gap onto it, so that way it'll keep the breeze going this way here. And also too, make it loose as possible from this direction and this direction too as well. So, but not too tight over here, or else you will enclose your air and circulation from the main board. So this will be another example of the plastic. You can use plastic, any type of them. You can use small plastics if you do have this type of size, if you do have one. If not, you can use other large container bags, which is like the garbage bags. You can use one with a 15-gallon, 20-gallon, I believe those are the size, because that will have a good room on top of it, because this will actually maintain itself on top, and that way you can actually move around. And also too, it's a good insulator too as well, to actually keep dust off of it, and also too as well keep the any air or breezes off of the printer too as well. Okay, next one on this side too as well. Another one too as well would be the papers too as well. So any type of paper you can use, either the recycle trash bag or grocery bags, which is they are papers too as well. You can actually use those type of papers. You can actually use crafts papers too as well. Not the printing papers, because that's a little bit too flimsy and not that very sturdy. What there is one you can actually use crafts paper, which is this guy. This is a stubborn paper, crafts too as well, which is very much more stubborn, right? Or actually sturdier than the other traditional papers. Traditional papers will be like a printer paper, which has this flimsiness right here. Doesn't have that flex, or doesn't have that sturdiness. It's just flexible right here. So another thing, that's the one thing you have to keep an eye out. And now you got to use these crafts papers, which is harder. This one you recommend you actually use two of them right here from the sides, top and bottom, and that will be easier for you to actually maintain that or insulation too as well on this side. This side, there's no insulate, or there's no air ducts onto this side, so you're okay, you're safe with it. And that way you can actually use that one to actually cover the entire side on this side too as well, including the back too as well of the printers. So make sure you check around your printers to see if there's any air circulation. For example, this side has air circulation. Make sure you check everything else is in place as is, so that way you have to like really enclose it too much of it, so that way it has to keep the main board circulated. Okay, so basically those papers, plastic that you can use. Another ones, there is a product I am trying to work with. That one is the, where did I put it? I am looking for that plastic material. I thought I had it ready to go. Oh, right here. Okay, good. Found it. Another one is another product I am trying to work with right now. It's called the non-glare plascolite. It's a plastic clear surface material that you see around, which they're using for the COVID situation, to actually keep people from the other side to sneeze and cough in front of the other side of the person that is healthier, to maintain their distance and also be safety as well. So this is a clear plastic that is used right now. They do sell it at your hardware store if they do have it. That is near the glass and window section. So this is the one that looks like right here now, which is the glass and non-glare component. Right now, this is a good one too as well. This is a 8" by 10" 0.5 inches, or 20 centimeter 25 centimeter by 1.3 millimeter. So this is very thin. This can be used too. That's great too as well. You have to put it onto the top of the surface, and now you can actually use this too as well. So this can be used for either the Velcro, the tape, or stronger tape too as well. Okay, so once we got that out of the way, and now we talk about the environment, how you enclose it. That's the easy part. How to keep your part printed on the main build plate. That's the second one. Now, how do you put your tape or the glue on top of the surface? Simple. So this is already prepared right away. So on your tape, make sure you measure your tape, the masking. So I chose the big one. Make sure you've measured the size of it from the width. Right now, this is a 1 5/8. Oh no, 7/8. No, 2 7/8. Oh no, 7/8. Okay, 1 7/8. As you can see, bring it a little bit closer. Hopefully they autofocus get into that one. Anyways, you can actually see it right now. So it's like 1 inch and 7/8. Then your build plate area right here. So make sure you do a pre-test first. So that way you'll know where's your build or your printing area is at. So you have like a printing area on this section right here. Your extrusion line will be on this side. So that one, this is just a plain line of a filament that's being used excess material. You have to worry about that one. So you have to like put masking tape on that side. This one, if it depends on how many area surface is gonna be built around there, the main focus is always in the center area. So I'd rather focus on that one. And this one will actually fit 2 masking tape. So I did one right here, masking tape from the top all the way to the front as much as you can, which is easier, and that's it. If it have like this type of tear or this type of tear, don't worry about it. That's a magnet. Don't worry about it. It's just, we don't worry about that one. We're not gonna print like a larger piece that will go over here right now. That's not a big deal. As long as you get to the surface area that's a bit bigger onto that area, you're good to go. So that way you're set. Okay. Now then, the glue stick, how you gonna do it, depending on which surface area you want to try. Either if I was gonna do a cube, I'm just gonna do is right here. You can actually see the printing layout. I'm just gonna do like just one row. That's it. Doing the second one, and that's it. So either way, you can do it on your build plate, or you could do it on the masking tape. Either way works, because that way you actually keep an adhesive onto it if it does fail on your printing area. Okay. Now then, different type of prints will vary on what you're printing right now. So if it wasn't easier, or if there was like a rafts, if you put it onto your settings, a rafts is basically a secondary or primary base of the filament you use to actually get remove excess off of the print. So this is an example of the cube with the raft. So this is the raft onto here. Easy to remove. Just remove it. That's it. And also, if it's on the build plate, it'll be on here, and it'll be like that. So simple as that. Now, if your settings was a bit too much, and if your print is all the way is like stubborn to come off of the build plate, what you can do is that if they have a tower on top, grab it. You got to remove it. If it does easily remove off, if it doesn't remove by hand, you can twist this one till you hear a little cracks on the print. That's it. And you got to remove it. It should remove right away. If those two failed at some point, what you can do is use your tool that they give you for your 3D printing is the scraper. So all you do is go on the build plate, scrape it off, and just pry it slowly and carefully as you can. Make sure you leave this on the table, not on your hand, because it will I am aware about the safety and caution. So if you accidentally slip, it will actually get to your hand and you will hurt yourself. So that is very a dangerous caution for you. So I rather just put onto the table, hold it down, and make sure you have your blade away from you, and now you just go from there, and that's it. If that one does not, if that one fails, that it cannot remove, have an adult, and also as well with you adults as well that is looking at this one. If it doesn't work in that direction, some stores will sell you this type of blade with a handle onto it, Or if you want to, you can 3D print a handle for this blade too as well. That's another way you can try. I'll show you that one next time. But to be serious right now, this one has a sharp blade, so be careful with this one. But same concept. Away from you, hold the build plate, and then pry it in there as much as you can. Don't force it because this is a thin blade. It's okay. If you manage to get the blade underneath the raft and you're a success but cannot remove it, that's okay. Have a secondary plate, the scraper, go underneath it and pry down with this one. Because again, remember that this blade is a little bit thin. It will break if you try and remove it. That's a big no. And this one is a bit thicker, but it's not that sharp from the edges. It will not, it will kind of remove it. But you have like a 2 pry system that you can actually use as a secondary torque. So you just like go from the primary as the base if it's stubborn. Secondary, go underneath it and it'll just pry itself out. Just work your way into it onto the corners. Go by the tip, go in the corner, it'll just pry your way into the build plate and it'll remove it using this one right here from the build plate. So that'll be the fourth advance to actually remove any stubborn prints right away. Okay. Different type of prints that can remove, well, depends onto it. Either the little keychain, this will be easy to remove. That's it. This one, easy to remove. If you have a good grip, remove that one. Benchy the boat, same thing, should remove it because you have like a good strong base on top. You just remove it, pry it out. If you have some other prints too as well, or example, the cat too as well, the cat should be removed, right? It should be easily removed because you have a good surface grip, easy too as well. This tree too as well. Like I said, this one is a good example of the build plate, so you have a larger piece of it. But from the inside, if you can see it, I'm not sure you can see it from the inside, it has a little bit surface adhesive, so this is easy to remove. So you just remove it on top. That one's easy to do. And same thing with the PVC water dripper connection. Same thing, good tower, remove it. If you have this type of print like this is for a water container, water bottle. If you can actually remove it on top. You can remove it from the sides if you can. If not, then you have to go from using the scraper, so you scrape it off and follow the same concept again. Scraper, if it's too stubborn, blade and scraper, pry it open. This one too as well might be a little more difficult because this is very, very flat surface. If you have a raft onto there, you got to remove it right away. Easy that. If you're doing any type of projects that is more engineering related, but you don't add in the rafts onto it, and if your glue or your masking tape is on there, masking tape, it should be easily removed. Just to remove it, it will tear off. Like if you accidentally have it like this and it's stubborn, and if you're trying to remove it and it's like that, don't worry. You can actually, that's a good thing because that way you have to damage your build plate, or it'll be easier to remove off of the build plate without using no effort onto that masking tape. So because again, masking tape can be easy to replace. That's it. But if you have it on this direction with the tape or with the glue glued onto the surface, and if you have like this has no build plate, as you can see from the bottom, this is a good adhesive on the build plate. If it's on here really super tight onto this side and you can't remove it, again, I strongly advise you have an adult with you, and also with you adults too as well. Follow the same instruction as before. Use the scraper as a primary one to remove it if possible. If not, blade, stick into it as much as you can. Let's see, I'm getting an example of it. I'm trying to do one for my hand. It's a bit stubborn too as well. You have to like manage yourself onto it, so make sure you actually keep it on the table away from you. If it does grip underneath it, and if it does held up tightly, so for example, I'm gonna cheat myself like this. If it does have it like this, but it's very stubborn, secondary one, go underneath it, pry it open. There you go. Oh wait, you didn't see it, but it's okay. So you get that concept of it. So you get the idea. Okay. Next one is cleaning up the surface. So if you have a masking tape onto it, and if it's like torn up like this one right here, and there's a lot of glue surface on top of it, All you do is just remove it from the either from the edges right here. That's easier for you to grip. Same concept on the other side. Remove it, and that's it. And there you go. This side's clean. But from this side right here, if it has a glue stain, we can bring our cloth wipes. Hopefully this is wet. Yes, it does. Have your cloth wipe. It's really damp. And just lightly wash it off. You can see those glue is being removed. There we go. Let me give it a shake to air dry it or blow onto it. Either way works. Once you're done with it, this should be air dried right now. This is still good. It's not dirty. It's just removing the glue excess. Put it back. And it stays. Make sure to lock the lid nice and tight. Moisture will actually take its place. That way it'll keep the cloth moisturizer. And that's it. There you go. It will air dry it next time. If you're not printing another one again. And go from there. Okay. Now then. Another question too. I forgot about that. Someone did ask me about that. What if you want to use the same glue or the same tape on the surface right here, and that you want to use the same printing process? Yes, you can. Depending how sticky it is, if you want to check it, just lightly tap on top of it. If it's still sticky, you can use that one the second time. Print it on top of it. You're good to go. If you want to get lucky, might be the third time, lucky around that area. But if not, on the fourth time, make sure you clean the same thing again. If your masking tape is on top with the glue on top of it, wipe it down. That'll be easier for you to use right now, and that way you can actually print another one again next time, or actually put the glue stick on top of it, and that way you can actually print it again the fourth time. There you go. So there we go, and that's it. So now we actually covered the entire basics of the tools, how to use the tools safely, and how to use them for your printing process. Keep them on the build plate. And that's how you covered your printer with different various materials at home household items. There you go. And then after that, go from there. Oh yeah, that's right. Then the Replicator Plus. The Replicator Plus. So Replicator Plus, same concept. As you can see from the last time, there's this plexiglass on here that was large enough to cover this one. So I used it on the other side to actually cover the breeze against any wind. So that's good news. But on the build plate, same concept. Make sure you measure your area of the large piece, how far it goes. I rather strongly advise to actually try that out on your printer, which I'll show you that next time. So we will show you guys how you do your GD&T tolerances to actually know where's your limitation on your printers. I did that before with my Monoprice. So this is right here. This could be like using 3 tapes onto here, depending on what the size it is. So you use the 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. If it doesn't reach that far, on the 4th row, you might get lucky to actually tear down a part in half, or get a skinnier masking tape with the same or with the smaller dimensions onto it, so that way it'll reach the skinny strip up here if possible. Same thing down here. It'll have this thin 3D printed filament. This is the excess material to actually see if it does extrude the filament. We're not worried about this one right here, so we know our limitations right here. So you can just put your masking tape from here to here and figure out where's your area of working place is at. Same thing with this one. This is a larger piece right here, but this one has a good flexibility, so you can just flex it every now and then. Or you can actually come up with another attachment, so you have to use a flexible, and then you can actually flex down too as well. Same thing. Same concept. Okay, and that's it. Also too as well, from the printer too as well, a larger plastic bag might work. Depends how big it is. If not, use the same concept using these plastic ones. You can cut it up, or using the cardboard papers or the plastic ones, or using the clear plexiglass, or was it the plexiglass? But yeah, okay. Hopefully this is a good hints and tips. Give you guys some information about this one right now on your printer. Hopefully it'll work on your side. I will do another printing process next time with these resources, so that way you'll try it on your side as well on your end. So that way we'll know what's your limitations, how we can do your prototypes, how to actually print out larger pieces too as well. In the future too as well, we will print larger prints, so that's good news. and that way we'll see what our limitation is on those printers. We do have limited supplies here at the office, but again, on your side, you will learn along the way. That way you'll understand what to look for on my side, and that way you'll learn it from your side to actually, okay, I'll do this besides his, or that you can remodify if you want to try that. That's good on your side. So that's it for now. Hope you guys like this video. Hope everything else is a good tips on my side. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll continue on next time with our future videos. Okay, goodbye.